Israel strikes Iran-backed terrorists in ongoing effort to stop new war front in West Bank. Before we dive in details, please subscribe to the channel and stay always one step ahead to know all global important events happening around you. Give a thumbs up and share the video with your family and friends. Let's move on with the video. President Biden has called on Israel to clamp down on extremist settlers as IDF seeks to stop Palestinian terror attacks. Jerusalem, Israel Defense Forces, IDF, on Wednesday launched a raid on the city of Jenin and its refugee camp, two strongholds of Palestinian terrorist activity in the West Bank. The IDF operation in the West Bank, known by Israelis by its biblical name Judea and Samaria, raises questions about the opening of a third front in Israel's response to Hamas's multi-pronged attack against the Jewish state on October 7th, resulting in the massacre of 1,400 people in southern Israel. The IDF said in a statement that its counter-terrorism forces exchanged fire with armed terrorists. Over 10 terrorists were killed and over 20 wanted suspects were apprehended, among them Nur and Minur Salma, Palestinian Islamic Jihad terrorists. The US has designated the Iran-backed Palestinian Islamic Jihad a foreign terrorist organization. The fighting comes at a time when the Biden administration is cautioning Israeli actions in the West Bank, especially when it comes to violence from a small group of extremist settlers who have been involved in armed confrontations with Palestinian villagers in the area. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said during a press conference in India on Friday that the administration had been working for a two-state solution since coming into office, and that included pushing back on the expansion of settlements, on illegal outposts, on demolitions of homes, on evictions of Palestinians, on the status quo for the holy sites, on violence being perpetrated by extremists in the West Bank. The Associated Press reported that President Biden said in late October the attacks by extremist settlers amounted to pouring gasoline on the already burning fires in the Middle East since the Hamas attack. The administration refers to Jewish residents who live in the disputed West Bank territory as settlers. Following Thursday's raid, the IDF added that 2 M16 rifles, a Carlo gun, 3 handguns, ammunition and military equipment were seized. The Palestinian-manufactured Carlo gun has its origins in the 2016 terrorism wave against Israelis. The weapon is a watered-down version of the Carl Gustav submachine gun, hence its name, the Carlo gun. The initiative is always ours to prevent a third front. So the gangs of Hamas and the PIJ know we are in full force, not only in Gaza and in the north, but also in the West Bank. Yigal Carmen, a former counter-terrorism advisor to 2 Israeli prime ministers, told Fox News Digital. Israel has exchanged fire with the Lebanese terrorist movement Hezbollah on its northern border over the last week. Hezbollah is the Islamic Republic of Iran's main strategic partner in the Middle East and has over 150,000 missiles aimed at Israel. The Jewish state faces terrorist war fronts from Hamas, the Palestine Islamic Jihad (PIJ), and the Lion's Den in the West Bank and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Carmen said preventive counterterrorism operations are deterrents against Iran-backed groups in the West Bank to ensure they do not think this is their time or hour to widen the conflict. Carmen, a former colonel in Israel's military intelligence, said the IDF operation in Jenin also reveals that they have weapons in unimaginable quantities which can be seen in their ceremonies. Iran foreign minister warns Israel-Hamas war expansion has become inevitable. The IDF said it located and destroyed an underground tunnel shaft containing ready-to-use explosive devices. During searches in a building, additional weapons were found, as well as ammunition and military equipment. According to the IDF statement, IDF soldiers neutralized a terrorist who fired at them and confiscated his M16 rifle and cartridges. In addition, they destroyed a vehicle containing weapons. They also confiscated 2 M4 carbines and a handgun. Carmen, who is the president and founder of the Middle East Media Research Institute, said that the jihadis conduct marches in Jenin, like in Gaza, and use the population as their human shield. The IDF used numerous drone attacks to knock out the terrorists during the operation, a relatively new use of IDF air power in the West Bank that started during the summer. Following an identification by IDF drones, the IDF engaged and killed an armed terrorist cell which endangered the soldiers in the area. Several terrorists were killed as a result of the strike, the IDF said. Joe Trusman, a research analyst at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy's Long War Journal, concurred with Carmen's analysis that a third front has not opened against Israel. He told Fox News Digital, "I don't see multiple cities all erupting at once, but that can all change due to Gaza." Trusman said, "What is new is the increased use of airstrikes against armed terrorists in the West Bank in comparison to the start of the war on October 7th. He has observed a small uptick in IDF drone attacks targeting terrorists in the West Bank. Iranian shadow militias target us. Israel in Middle East, report." The specialist on Iranian-linked terrorist groups surrounding Israel added that, "As long as the war drags on, I can see Hamas activate terrorist cells in the West Bank to attack Jewish residents and the IDF. Trusman continued that as Hamas retreats and the IDF decimates its terrorists, Hamas's aim would be to relieve pressure on their jihadi forces by unleashing terrorist cells against Jews and the IDF in the West Bank. The Palestinian Authority Health Ministry said on Thursday that 14 people were killed during the IDF raid and 20 people were injured. The Jerusalem Post reported that since the start of the war, Israel has arrested over 900 suspects in the West Bank who are affiliated with Hamas. The Israeli paper said the IDF dropped leaflets in Jenin, stating the IDF remains here and will return again and again until terrorism is completely eradicated. Stay away from terrorism, live in peace. As we come to an end, let's reflect on the events we've discussed. We've navigated the tumultuous terrain of the ongoing conflict in the West Bank, tracing the chronology of events that have unfolded. We've delved into the role of Iran-backed militants, their involvement painting a stark picture of the complexities and challenges faced in this region. We've also cast light on the humanitarian impact of this conflict. Heartbreaking stories of ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances, revealing the human face behind the headlines. From the escalating tensions to the pivotal role of external forces and the undeniable toll on human lives, this journey has given us a more nuanced understanding of the intricacies involved. While the situation remains complex and ever-changing, it's our hope that a peaceful resolution can be found for the sake of all involved.